So, welcome to another episode of season 2 of the aged raised wood chip alternative beds. So, if you've been following along for a while, you know that the premise of this is to promote mycorrhizal fungi that helps combat the bacteria that causes root rot, or at least some of them. And it also gives you a raised bed, so maybe if you're in a little bit wetter, a little bit damper conditions, you can raise that bed 8 inches, 10 inches, 12 inches, 14 inches, whatever, and it may help with growing things that normally get root rot, like avocados. Avocados are the biggest trees or experiments that people have done or found out about, and I don't know the complete history about how it was found. Maybe it was part of the kind of the wood chip back to Eden gardening thing that kind of helped push people into experimenting with this stuff. I don't know, but I do know that there is a local nursery that has been doing this for a while, and he had, before he was doing this these beds, some of the flooding from one of the hurricanes killed a lot of his avocado trees off, and he decided to do this experiment with this raised bed, and he says it works. So we have built several beds from the ground up. We are working on this one here, which already had like a bed and a frame here. This was an old banana bed that we were experimenting with, and we also had one or two others that had like the frame already in place. We're raising it up, and we're trying to just convert it into this mycorrhizal bed, like post mycorrhizal beds. Can we save a plant that's in bad condition or dying or just isn't getting enough growth, isn't blooming? Can we save it through building a bed around it? We do not have access to aged 1 year plus wood chips that some people have. We are using stuff that we do have available: leaves, pine needles. We're using wood in all stages of decomposing, I guess you would say, from this year's wood to 1, 2, 3, 4 years back. Some of it is like sawdust. Some of it is a very wet and dense but rotted, that you squeeze and water just flows out of it. Some of it is hard and dry. Some of it is somewhat in between, all stages to kind of build the framework up. And since we want to kind of hasten the process, we do nutrient drenches to try to see if we can get, the bacteria, the insects, and, whatever, even ants, to come in here and start breaking this stuff down faster and allowing plant roots to catch a hold, to grow. It may not be a big deal if we were just trying to replicate someone else's success, especially if we're going to waste everybody's time and make season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just to see if we can be successful with avocados in the same general area as other people have had successes. So, we have to try other things, like maybe peaches, chestnuts, a variety of other things, and of course citrus. But wait a minute, don't citrus love wet feet? That's what these nurseries are telling me. And once a tree gets established, sometimes they can tolerate a good amount of wet feet, because I've had without these raised beds, we've been raising citrus here since 91 or 92, and we've had pretty good success in even heavy shade and flood zones. And sometimes, though, if you plant it out in that first year or so and you get some major flooding, they won't make it. But we also have, lower areas that are lower than what you would ever expect a lot of these guys to survive in. So raised bed, mycorrhizal fungi, all that stuff. Hopefully that amplifies it and makes it just where you can go lower and lower, where you're in the swamp or swamp border, and be successful. Loquats, we planted one in that first raised bed along with the avocado, because we made an extra long raised bed to do like 3 major things, and then have small, like minor plants and stuff growing, sweet potatoes and yada yada, various like longevity spinach and stuff like that. And despite loquats having a certain tolerance of a certain level of moisture in the ground and a certain level of protection from flooding, my experience tells me there is a line, even in my own property, where loquats never survive because of flooding. Okay, let's get to the meat and potatoes, right? Here I think is an old dogwood that's good. You know, it's several years old. We might can find some bits and pieces of that and some camphor and pines, and let's go ahead and start working on this bed. One of the previous videos when I started working on this, we want to put like bigger logs like across like that and allow planting spaces. All right, so there's the little dogwood. We probably need to add a little bit more to raise the height up a little bit. Another nice piece of dogwood here. And dogwood, until it has a pretty good level of rotting to it, it is very, very hard. I don't even know what for sure this is. It kind of looks like a peach. A little bit of pine there. Yeah, I've tried a lot of peach trees here just in the ground. Even putting them in barrels or tires, and they just do not work. Even got a little piece of fig here where it kind of died from the top one year, and then obviously it came back from the ground. There's some nice wood in there, but there's no way I'm putting my bare hands in all them briars. I think just one more little area here to go across, but I need more material for that area, it looks like. All right, it's the next half of the day, fixing to be sundown. I think the sun is somewhere behind them trees and some clouds and stuff. But it looks like we got this sectioned out, you know, so each little space would be up to one plant or a group of small plants or whatever if we do asparagus. And that's what it looks like. We need to put some leaves and stuff on it, but I think we're not going to do it in this video. It's going to be harder to get leaves because of all the grass and weeds here, and where we got our pine needles and stuff before, a lot of it, you know, we've taken it, so we're going to have to just spend time raking through the weeds and all that stuff, and it's going to be a little bit more time than I have today, I should say. So what we have here in this bucket is soybean meal. So we're going to do some nutrient drenches on the beds. They're close to being ready. Here's the bed that we made with like a pre-existing frame there, and there's some soybean meal on top. Here's the one that's in the wettest area, one of the wettest areas of our property. See that water there? We're back to bed number 2. Probably have to add some more in the next video because that ain't a lot. So the first 2 beds have lime, stink water, they have some green materials, ashes, lots of carbon materials, soybean meal, wheat bran, and that's basically how we started raised bed 1. We're going to add obviously some more soybean meal here, but we need to add some more stink water to some of the other beds, right? Again, you don't have to have this stuff. If you have loads of green materials to help break down and process, you know, the nutrients and have the carbon absorb it over time, and you have time for it to work off like that, that's fine. But if you don't, we need to add some nutrients to it. Stuff has a nice level of stink. Let's see if we can do it without getting it all over me, because this is some nasty stuff that won't wash off. It'll just take a day or 2 before the smell goes away. I think I want to spare you guys from trying to figure out how to record pouring that mess all over the beds. But I got some old oranges, almost looks like yeast or something at the top there. But yep, got to put them on the beds and we're going to be done for the day. There's the last 2 beds. So as you can tell, I skipped the post-mycorrhizal beds because I do not want to put nutrients in there while we could potentially get a frost or freeze. So I don't want to put the plants into growth mode until the potential frosts are done with for the season. If you guys checked out season 1 of the raised bed project, you'll know that just slightly over 3 months we went from building our first bed, the really large bed, to planting it out with the main tree, which was the avocado. And if you've also been keeping up with this season's raised bed episodes, I've talked about getting these guys, the new beds, planted out faster to see how fast we can plant them out. How fast will that be? Will that be a week from now, a month from now, what? And will all of them be planted out early? Probably not all of them, but some of them are going to kind of target for planting out fast. All right, I think we're out of time now. It's time to go get the kids from daycare. Natalie's already called me telling me, I need to come in, and I probably have 5 other things to do. So until the next episode, take care, guys.